Teacher talking sports, what it does, what do, how we live. And sometimes in sports, you see a guy who seems to be larger than life, just so much bigger than anyone on the opposing team. I mean, I could think of someone like Mekhi Becton after he got drafted by the Jets. Of course, just won a Super Bowl with the Philadelphia Eagles. I mean, if we think of the NBA, how about the Diesel, Shaquille O'Neal? Maybe not height-wise, but weight-wise. Just so much bigger and stronger than anyone else, was able to dominate in the paint. Well, there is a guy who is in the 2025 NFL draft, at least has the potential to be drafted, and he would be by far the largest guy ever to be drafted. I'm talking about Desmond Watson of the Florida Gators. So this is via AP News at 464 pounds. No, that's not a typo. Florida's Desmond Watson could become the heaviest draft pick in NFL history. There's a picture of him at his pro day. Mentioned 6'6", so 464 pounds. Workout in front of NFL scouts Thursday. He repped 225 pounds a whopping 36 times, which topped any bench press performance of this year's NFL Combine. Covered the 40-yard dash in 5.93 seconds. Recorded 25 inches in the vertical jumps. A couple other things it mentions here. Listed at 449 pounds last season, up from 435 as a junior, 415 pounds as a junior. Then Florida coach Dan Mullen called him a 385-pound athlete when he joined as a freshman. Mentioned some of his notable plays. We'll see that Brian Batty play in 2022. Mentions ripped the ball out of South Carolina running back Jaheim Bell's hand. Then it mentions the heaviest players ever drafted. So as I mentioned, he is listed at 465 pounds. That is quite a bit more than the two heaviest players that were ever drafted. One is Trent Brown out of Florida in 2015. The other is Daniel Falalele out of Minnesota in 2022. Now, Falalele actually started all 17 games for the Baltimore Ravens this past season and had a pretty good year, I must say. And Trent Brown is a former Pro Bowler and signed with the Houston Texans this season. But we see here BetMGM's X page, Desmond Miller putting on a show at Florida's Pro Day, mentions some of the things. So I think I said 464. That would be 84 pounds heavier than the heaviest player ever drafted. Quick 9 seconds of part of his pro day. It's him running. Definitely pretty impressive for a man that size. And it mentioned, a couple of his, noteworthy plays. This was one of them. Hail Razor. Desmond Ridder, 6'6" and 464 pounds. He could help the Commanders, guess he's a Commanders fan, clog up the middle. I mean, look at him essentially putting the guy in a bear hug like he's Brock Lesnar against the WWE jobber. Pretty cool sight to see. Just so much bigger than anyone else on the field. 464 pounds now. Mentions he could be the heaviest player to be drafted. Matt Miller of ESPN recently put out his 7-round NFL draft, where he basically wrote up on the first 3 rounds and then just listed who he has in rounds 4 to 7. He did not have Desmond Watson on his list of guys to be drafted, but maybe there's the potential is there for him to be drafted, and maybe he could find himself on a training camp roster. Pretty incredible. He is a defensive tackle. You would think, imagine being a running back. on an obvious rundown and seeing Desmond Watson on the other side, you would probably not want a run called up the middle, knowing that he is there. But yeah, pretty interesting to see. It would be really cool if Desmond Watson was drafted. The possibilities there, as I mentioned, Matt Millen did not have him on his mock 7-round draft, but we'll see if he can get a chance at making an NFL roster. It would be a really cool story and something to continue to keep our eyes on. But anyhow, don't forget to subscribe. Tell a friend, tell a friend, tell a friend to subscribe. Like the video, share the video, hit the bell for notifications. I'm out.